guys, huge episode. We're talking the biggest surprises of midseason fantasy football, the injuries that have happened, the guys that kind of shocked us, the James Connors that came out of nowhere, 10 touchdowns already. We're going to talk about the biggest surprises midseason. Got a fun episode. I want to let you guys know, more giveaways, compliments of pristine auctions. This is a signed Tyreek Hill speed helmet. I love the matte finish on this. And a Darren Waller jersey are the next giveaways here. Compliments of pristine auction. And when you guys enter pristineauction.com using promo code SWAGLION, you're entered. I believe you get $10 off your first auction. Amazing products, guys. And you're entered for free for this helmet and this jersey. pristineauction.com. Use promo code SWAGLION. It's free to sign up. Go do that right now, guys. Amazing giveaways. Follow my story mode on Instagram as well. Winners will be tagged on my Instagram at Fantasy Football Counselor. So go do that. But again, pristineauction.com. Promo code SWAGLION. And I want to let you know the show is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Head on over there, enhance that game watching experience. And I'm telling you guys, I had a little bit down on the UFC fights. I did pretty well this week. I won't brag, but mybookie.ag is where I go to enhance my game watching experience. Use code FFC, guys, when you head on over there, FFC, and they will double your first deposit. Okay, guys? Go do that right now. mybookie.ag, promo code FFC. Go do that. Amazing, amazing. And again, it makes my game watching a lot more fun. I use it for the NBA as well. All right, let's do this now, guys. Let's talk about the 10 biggest surprises for fantasy football midseason. We're heading into week 10. Can you believe week 10? It's phenomenal. Now, a lot of people say, well, where's your waiver wire? At this point, guys, you should know who to pick up. Week 10, if you need a player off waiver wire, unless there's some sort of catastrophic injury to one of your main players, which I haven't seen any major injuries this past week, you should be okay, okay? I've only went to waiver wire about 2 to 3 times this season, and it was only to pick up, I picked up Cornell Patterson, and I picked up, I think, Hunter Renfrow early in the season as well. Other than that, I've not gone to waiver wire at all. I think I had to pick up a kicker as well because my kicker was on bye. But other than that, guys, you should kind of know what you're doing at this point for waiver wire week 10, all right? Let's go here and let's talk about the biggest surprise. The first one here. Now, there's a couple of these surprises that I anticipated. There's a couple of them that, like, oh my God, it came out of nowhere. As much as I try to anticipate everything, I can't anticipate everything. And I'm pretty damn good at anticipating things happening. One of them, I did not foresee an injury with Derrick Henry, but I did say that he was due. He had like 2 pinnacle seasons. And I said, Derrick Henry, I mean, it's almost been picture perfect. I mean, he is due. And I've said it in a bunch of my videos. If you listen to my stuff, you know what I'm talking about. He was due for either an injury or a decline. Like, it was almost too perfect for Derrick Henry. Sure enough, he got on IR, but that is a big surprise to a lot of people who drafted him. I'm fortunate enough to avoid drafting him this season because I went Najee. And I always try to focus on guys that are on the upwards trend. Now, I drafted early enough to be able to pick up both Saquon and Najee. I was getting Najee in the second round. So if not, Najee would have been my first overall pick. Okay. So it is what it is. Henry went down, but that was a big surprise to a lot of people, including myself, because again, he's as safe and durable as they come. Now, again, if you listen to my videos prior to the season, I said the safest pick, the most boring pick, the most, almost guaranteed pick is Zeke Elliott. And sure enough, that is because Zeke Elliott is number 10 right now amongst running backs after 9 weeks, sitting number 10th in PPR points with 138. Okay, safe and boring as they come. But Derrick Henry, and again, I kind of in the back of my mind, and I kind of mentioned a couple times, was due for an injury, but a big surprise. Surprise number 2. Now, James Conner doing really, really well. And now we have, I think Edmonds is out with an injury. But here's the thing, okay? Nobody really saw this. Well, we kind of knew that Conner was good, but we can't trust the Cardinals. They believed in David Johnson a couple years ago. Then they said Kenyon Drake is not, and nobody invested in James Conner early. They were all going Chase Edmonds. I'm like, Chase Edmonds sucks. And sure enough, Chase Edmonds has been what? Sucking, right? And he's hurt right now. So a big surprise is that James Conner is 11th right now amongst running backs. And you kind of anticipated somebody would kind of step up there for the Cardinals. But again, it's too much of a gamble for drafting. So good on him. He's sitting 11th right now. And a lot of that, though, is predicated on is his touchdowns. He's got the 10 touchdowns. But when you look at his receptions, only 10 receptions for 111 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. It's mainly in regards to his and again, his average is only 3.9 yards per carry. It's not like he's doing well on the ground. So he's heavily inflated on those touchdowns. But again, good on him. That's 11th in PPR amongst running backs for James Conner. A bit of a surprise. Now, here's a pleasant surprise. Now, I kind of anticipated Henry possibly getting hurt, but I didn't anticipate this. This is number 3. Cornell Patterson stepping up. He's sitting 7th right now amongst running backs. And I got to give a lot of credit to Cornell Patterson. He is good. This is a definition of a guy, years to wow me, and I'm finally wowed. Very, very impressed Cornell Patterson here. Currently sitting with 153 points. And what I like about him is he's like a Swiss Army knife. He's so versatile. He was a wide receiver. He still kind of is. He came into the league as a wide receiver. I believe he was on, what team was he? I was on the Vikings, I believe. And he didn't wow us. He didn't get that opportunity. But he's kind of been that perfect fit with the Falcons and the veteran Matt Ryan, especially with the injuries there. I wouldn't say even injuries, with the fact that Julio's gone and Calvin Ridley being gone for some personal issues. So he's actually stepped up and got it done in the running game, got it done in the passing game, and all around. So props on him. 278 yards, only 3.8 yards per carry, 2 rushing touchdowns, but he does get done in the receptions, right? He has 5 receiving touchdowns, which really do help his numbers, and he's a guy I picked up off waiver wire early on in the season. A very pleasant surprise and a very good talent, and it's like he's found his top gear here, and I'm very excited about Cornell Patterson for the rest of the season. All right, number 4 here. This one I did anticipate, and I talked about it. There's several posts on my Instagram talking about this, but Carson Wentz is now top 10 amongst quarterbacks in the rankings, okay? Very impressive, and we kind of knew if healthy, he would do well behind that O-line, and I knew it, but he was outside the top 15 on all consensus rankings. He was just outside or in my top 10. I think he was like 10 or 11, which is where he's sitting right now. 164 points and 17 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Very decent ratio. We want to see those touchdowns go up for Carson Wentz. He's finally getting into his groove, and, Michael Pittman has stepped up as well for him, which people were sleeping on, which we'll talk about. But Carson Wentz, a pleasant surprise. I got him here on this list of just big surprise that nobody anticipated except for the counselor. Another surprise here, and I don't understand why people didn't see this, but Cooper Kupp being number 1. Now, I didn't anticipate him being the number 1 wide receiver 9 weeks in, but he's a number 1 wide receiver by a significant margin. So he's got 235.4 PPR fantasy points. The only guy that's close to him is Tyreek Hill with 185. So there's at least like a 50-point gap between him and the next wide receiver in regards to PPR fantasy points. This is very, very impressive for Cooper Kupp, a guy that I was recommending you draft in around 3 and 4. And what the crazy thing is with the sheep, and that's why 16 rounds is so good, because Cooper Kupp was outside the top 10, but was recommended 3rd, 4th round in 16 rounds. And that's why 16 rounds is so good, because it's not based on rankings, it's based on opportunity. So you don't have to invest an early draft pick on a wide receiver. You can get a wide receiver 3rd or 4th round that's going to finish on top and ahead of the guys that are being drafted in round 1. So for example, right now, Michael Pittman's number 7, Jamar Chase number 3, Deebo Samuel number 4, Cooper Kupp number 1. All these guys were outside the top 10 and being drafted for value, while the consensus and sheeps were all saying draft, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill round 1. You could get literally wide receivers for value. And that's what I talked about in 16 rounds. I preach this every single year. So a pleasant surprise, Cooper Kupp being this has surprised me, being the number 1 wide receiver by a heavy margin. I knew he'd do well. I know I recommended him, but the fact that, again, number 1 is pretty remarkable. Number 6 here, big surprise, Deebo Samuel to the Conchiefs, but not to me. Now, I didn't think, again, he'd be number 4. That's a big surprise to me in that sense, but I knew he'd be the number 1 wide receiver. If you don't believe me, I did a show on this. Go back and check it. I think we filmed this probably July or August. I had Deebo Samuel on the show. The reason I asked him to come on the show is because I believed in him. Everybody else was saying Ayuk. Ayuk was ranked ahead of Deebo Samuel. I've got the magazine right here. I've got actually a magazine right here from the Conchiefs. And it's funny because I was looking at this the other day, and where's Ayuk? Ayuk is actually ranked ahead of Deebo Samuel. I got to find this again. Brandon Ayuk. I know he was ranked ahead of him. Where is he here? Where is he? I got to find it. Anyway, when I find this, I'll let you guys know. I'll go back and follow my story more on Instagram. I'm going to do something on this. But I know Deebo Samuel was not in this. I don't think he was even ranked in this book. And the fact that they disregard Deebo Samuel is absolutely ludicrous. Yeah, I don't see him here even. But I know in all the magazines and all the rankings, Brandon Ayuk was ranked ahead of Deebo Samuel. So to the Consheepsis, this is a it is a big surprise that Deebo is ahead of him. I'm just trying to see if there's like a general rankings page here. Oh, there's a cheat sheet right here, wide receiver. I know I'm not giving up on this. I got to find, Deebo Samuel ranked 35. Here we go. Found it. So Deebo Samuel was ranked 35th amongst wide receivers against the Consheepsis, and Ayuk ranked ahead of him at 29. Auction value $10 Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel $6. I don't know if you guys could see it. I'll pull it up to the camera. This camera, I don't know if it focuses there, but you can kind of see if you take a look. Anyway, point I'm trying to make here is that Deebo Samuel was a surprise to Consheepsis, but I knew and Council Nation knew he'd be a wide receiver 1. Next one, Michael Pittman ranked 59th on the consensus ranking. 59th. Now, I'm going to pull it up here again, but here's the thing. Everybody slept on him as well. And the thing about Pittman is that he was going into the season as a wide receiver 1. Why was nobody talking about this? I see T.Y. Hilton ranked 55th here, and I think Pittman was after him. So here you go, guys. This is proof right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Take a look at this page. 58th, okay? 58th. I don't know if you can see it, but he's 58th in this magazine, and that was across the board on the consensus rankings. And I said Pittman's the one. Why aren't you guys all drafting Pittman as a wide receiver 1? But you got him for value. I got him in like the 7th, 8th round. And I was telling everybody in 60 rounds to get him. You can go heavy, robust RB and get your wide receiver 1s later. That's why we're winning. That's why we're succeeding, because we got that value, later on. So Michael Pittman, a great surprise for the Consheepsis, but not for Council Nation, because we saw that. Another surprise, and the fact that he's sitting number 3 is remarkable, is Jamar Chase. Again, we saw this, explained it in 16 rounds as a sleeper. Again, to the sheep, big surprise. To Council Nation, not so much of a surprise, but there he is there. Jamar Chase, number 3 amongst wide receivers. Very impressive. Another surprise here, number 9 for the Consheepsis, not for me, but Dalvin Cook. Now, he is sitting 26th amongst running backs 9 weeks in, going into week 10 of NFL fantasy football. Dalvin Cook, here's the surprise part about it. Well, to the sheep, he was drafted in the first round. The fact that he's sitting 26th amongst running backs, surprise, he sucks. But here's the thing. He missed a few games. He hasn't missed that many games, and he's still been on the field, and he's still... That's a surprise to me, because if he's on the field, he should be performing really, really well, and he's just not. 2 weeks ago, he had a mediocre game, and then now, let me pull this up here. I'm going to pull up PPR. So I'm looking at this 15 points week 9, 7.8, then he had a 22-pointer, and then week 4, he had 6.4 points. So he missed weeks, I think he missed weeks 5, I don't know when they were on bye, but I see week 5 and 7 out. I think one of them was a bye. So I missed 1 or 2 weeks, and he's still been crap in the bed. So, 26th and being on the field for 1, 2, 3, he's played 6 games, and he's sitting 26th. That's not good. It's not good. He ran for 110 yards in week 9, 15 points, but the week prior did nothing. Absolutely nothing. 7.8 points. So, again, big surprise to Consheepsis with Dalvin Cook, but again, being on the field, he's still not performing, having 2 terrible weeks and 2 mediocre weeks. So Dalvin Cook, a big surprise to Consheepsis. Is glad I avoided that bullet, right? What goes up must come down. And finally, a big surprise to me, 2 injuries here. Let's put them together. CMC and Saquon being out with injuries for this long. CMC is back. Saquon should be back next week. But the fact that both these guys got hurt again, they're both top 5 guys, that to me is a big surprise. And Saquon, a guy that was trending upwards, out, and he had the vid as well. That doesn't help anything. And he rolled his ankle in a freak accident. So again, maybe you could say these guys are lacking durability, showing that they are. If they get hurt again, they are definitely brittle as glass. But let's see how the back end of the season plays out for these guys. But as of right now, CMC and Saquon, big time surprise busts this season for fantasy football. All right, guys? So there's 10 big surprises for the season. If you are new to the channel, make sure you guys do subscribe. Also, head on over to manscaped.com. Use promo code SHOWERLINE. Grab yourself a trimmer. You guys are going to like the fit and finish of this. And they've got body wash shampoo. You'll love it. SHOWERLINE. Go to manscaped.com. Get yourself a trimmer. You'll be very, very happy. All right, guys. I am out. We'll talk soon. 10 big surprises. Get 16 rounds next year, and you won't be as surprised because you see some of this stuff coming. I'm out, guys. Hope you enjoyed this show. Just throwing out some cool content for you guys. And subscribe if you're new. I'm out.